All right, guys. Section 5.8, time to continue factoring. Factoring, we are going to now look at trinomials. The form is going to be x squared plus bx plus c. Technically, it's ax squared plus bx plus c, but the a is always going to be a value of 1. The coefficient of this x squared will be 1 for now. So if you remember foiling, we multiplied these two binomials, these two parentheses. We did first terms, outer terms, inner terms, last terms. And frequently, the outer and the inner products were like terms. We were able to combine them. So you multiply, you got x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 12. Combine the 4 and the 3 and got 7x. Well, they're saying, hey, take a look at these two numbers, these last terms, the L values in FOIL. 3 times 4 gave us the 12. That's the C value. And positive 3 and positive 4 together gave us positive 7. That's the B value. And that's what we're going to look at when we factor these. We're going to now have this trinomial and be asked to break it back down into this binomial. So, remember I said it's ax squared plus bx plus c, but in this case, a is always going to be 1. This coefficient will always be 1. I'm going to refer to the a, the b, and the c values all the time in this next few lessons in this chapter. So get used to the a value being the coefficient of the squared term, the b value being the coefficient of the first power term, and the c value being just the constant with no variable at all, usually. You'll see an example where we do have some variables. So if we want to factor x squared plus 7x plus 10 into two binomials, I need to take a look at this 10. First of all, the c value is a positive number. Anytime the c value is a positive number, we're always going to add, because it's positive, to get the b value. So I need to come up with a pair of numbers that are going to multiply, have a product of 10, and are going to add, have a sum of 7. So what you want is you want to come up with factors of the c value, like 1 and 10, and add them together and see if they make 7. Well, 1 and 10 don't make 7. But another set of factors of the c value is 2 and 5. And 2 and 5 does make 7. So therefore, that means that in my two binomials, the last, the L's, are going to be these two factors, 2 and 5, because they make 7. So my answer is going to be x plus 5 and x plus 2. You could write it the other way around. You could write x plus 2 and then x plus 5. The order of the binomials doesn't matter as long as your numbers are in the right places. Sound confusing? All right, we'll move. We're going to take a look at another one where the c value is positive again, except this time the b value is negative. It means I need to multiply to make 7. I need to add to make negative 8. Well, that means that I'm going to have two negative numbers, because a negative number times a negative number gives me a positive number, and a negative number plus a negative number gives me an even bigger negative number, or technically a little smaller negative number. So any factors of 7, they're going to add to make 8. Well, there's only one set of factors of 7. 7 is a prime number. The only factors of 7 are 1 times 7. And fortunately, 1 plus 7 makes 8. But 1 plus 7 doesn't make negative 8, so I can't have a positive 1 and a positive 7. I need a negative 7 and a negative 1 to make my negative 8. All right? Let's take a look at some, and I'll break it down a little further. D squared plus 11d plus 24. So I have a positive c value. That tells you I'm going to multiply to make 24. I'm going to add to make the b value of 11. All right, so let's set up my two parentheses first. And I'll fill in what I know and leave blank what I don't know yet. I know that in the front of the parentheses, I need the first terms to multiply to make d squared. So that's going to be d and d. I know that the second thing I need is I need two numbers that are going to multiply to make 24 and add to make positive 11. So I know I'm going to need two numbers that are both positive. Anytime the C value is positive, the signs in the parentheses will be both the same thing. And then I think it's factors of 24. Well, 24 and 1 adds to make 25, no good. 12 and 2 adds to make, no, 14, no good. 8 and 3, oh, 8 times 3 is 24. 8 plus 3 is 11. 8 and 3 are my lasts. And there I have my factored binomials. If I was to FOIL this, d squared, outer gives me plus 3d, inner gives me plus 8d. They combine to make that plus 11d. And lasts 24. Try this one. W squared minus 11w plus 28. A positive c value means that I'm going to need to multiply to make 28 and add to make, in this case, negative 11. So I'll start my parentheses out. I've got a w and a w. That's what makes my w squared right here. I know I'm going to have two signs that are the same to multiply to make a positive, and I have to add to make a negative, so those two same signs are going to be minus and minus. Now think of factors of 28. Well, the first set of factors of 28 that I think of is 7 and 4. 7 times 4 is 28, and 7 plus 4 is 11. So that means that negative 7 plus negative 4 makes negative 11. And negative 7 times negative 4 makes positive 28 when you multiply them. And there's my factored answer. Here's an example where I have an a value, or an a is 1. I have a q squared, but now I have an r squared back here also. That means if you remember we did some of these FOILs, my parentheses aren't going to just have one variable. They're going to have two variables. I'm going to have a q and a q to make my q squared, but I need to make an r squared also. So that means that my lasts are both going to have an r. So this is positive. So as I multiply to make 18, I'm going to add to make 11. And I need two numbers that are both positive. So both my parentheses get a plus and a plus. And factors of 18 that add to make 11, well, let's see, 3 times 6 is 18, but 3 plus 6 is only 9. 2 times 9 is 18, and 2 plus 9 is 11. So this will be a 2r, and this will be a 9r. And if I wanted to, I could have put the 9 first. It wouldn't matter. And then put the 2 in the second one. It doesn't matter. So check it. Q times q first is q squared when I FOIL. Outer gives me 9qr. Inner gives me 2qr. They add for 11qr. And lasts 2r times 9r is positive 18r squared. Last but not least for this, take a look at this trinomial. Backwards. I don't want it backwards. I'm going to rearrange this. I'm going to rewrite this with the m squared in the front. And the minus 22m where it belongs. And then the 21 goes at the end. Well, what's the sign of the 21? It's a positive 21. So I'll get a plus 21. So my C value is a positive number. That means that as I multiply to make 21, I'm going to add to make 22. So I'll set up my two binomial parentheses. I know to get my first m squared, I need to have an m and an m to start my parentheses. You can always fill those in. I know that I need to multiply to make 21 and add to make negative 22. So I'm going to need two signs that are the same, and they both need to be a negative. These are both going to be negative numbers in here. And factors of 21, well, 21 only has two sets of factors. It's 3 times 7. Well, 3 plus 7 is only 10. And 21 times 1. Hey, it's 22. So 21 and 1 are my two factors that make negative 22. Negative 21, negative 1 makes negative 22. That's all when the C value is a positive number. What if the C value is a negative number? Let's take a look here at the example C, example 2. When the C value is a negative number, I'm not going to add to make the B value. I'm going to subtract to make the B value. And also, if I have to multiply to get a negative, that means that one of my numbers is going to be positive and one of my numbers is going to be negative. And if I have to put them together with addition to get a positive 6, and I have a negative number and a positive number, that means that the larger number of the two factors is going to have to be a positive to get a positive 6. So factors of 16, they got 1 and 16. They got 2 and 8. Well, 2 and 8 subtract to make 6. And if I have a 2 and an 8, 2 and negative 8 makes negative 6, but I'm trying to make positive 6. Negative 2 and positive 8 makes positive 6. There we go. So negative 2 is my first factor, and positive 8 is my second factor. So negative 2 and positive 8 goes into my parentheses. Let's practice a couple of them. I got 3 of those for you. Y squared plus 13y minus 48. The C value is negative. As I multiply to make 48, I'm going to subtract to make 13. Well, let's set up our parentheses. I got a parentheses here, I got parentheses here. I know I need to make a y squared, so I got a y, and I got a y. So my factors are 48. Well, let's see. 24 times 2 subtracts to make 22. Nope. 12 times 4 subtracts to make 8. Nope. 16 times 3. Ooh, you might even know that one. 16 and 3 subtract to make 13. 16 and 3. Multiply to make the C term, 48, and they subtract to make the B term, 13. But I need to get a positive and a negative 1 on each one, and since I have a positive 13, I need the larger of my two factors to get the positive, and the smaller to get the negative. That means that 16 minus 3 gives me 13, and 16 times negative 3 gives me negative 48. All right, let's take a look at the next one. R squared minus 2r minus 24. I have a negative C term. That means I'm going to be subtracting to make 2. In this case, actually, negative 2. I'm going to fill in my firsts. They're r's. Factors of 24. Well, let's see. 12 and 2 subtracts to make 10. No. 8 and 3 subtracts to make 5. No. 6 and 4 subtracts to make 2. So 6 and 4 go into my parentheses. Now, one of these has to be a plus, one of these has to be a minus. I need to get a negative 2, so that means I need to have a negative 6 and a positive 4. Because positive 4r and negative 6r makes my negative 2r. And negative 6 times positive 4 when I FOIL the lasts gives me negative 24. Last one, written out of order, I'm going to rewrite it. M squared minus m minus 42. Take a look at that b term. What's the b value in this problem? The b value is 1. This is the easiest one, also the trickiest one. All right. My c value is a negative 42. So I know I'm going to subtract to make the b value. I'll fill in my m's. And then I'll say, what are my factors of 42 to have to subtract to make 1? I need two numbers that are only one number apart. Well, 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, 7 times 6 is 42. And I need a positive and a negative. I need my negative, because the b is a negative, and my negative to be the larger of the two numbers. So negative 7 and positive 6 makes negative 1. All right, let's see how you can do with that.